My world has secrets. Or at least it will. Welcome back to Hardcore Minecraft. My name's KC. Last episode, we worked on a bee farm. We tried to get some honeycomb and some honey blocks. But this episode, we're gonna actually use some of this honeycomb that we collected. And we're gonna check on the farm right now. I've only been online for about 30 minutes or so. And we've already got a good amount. So this farm will probably be deconstructed at some point when we have enough. Today we're going to be working on a separate part of the world. And this is going to go back to what I started talking about in the very first episode, I believe, where I wanted to do some kind of museum area. And I've started it here. And you're going to be wondering, why are you just digging a big hole? Well, digging the big hole because this is going to be a lake going into a river, going all the way down here, and down here will be a waterfall. But underneath the waterfall, there's going to be a secret area. I don't know if you can see, but down there is going to be hollowed out, and then we're going to have a map room and some other fun stuff hidden away down there. So I've started working on this hole for the lake, and I'm going to continue shaping it, and I'm going to do a little bit of terraforming, and I will show you guys kind of what I'm doing along the way, just kind of bits and pieces of it, and then we'll get to the funner parts later on. So it's taken a few minutes, but I've gotten the western bank of the river done so far, going up to where the water will drop off. And the water dropping off is going to be a completely different story. That's going to be something that's going to take me a little bit of time, but it's going to be something that I'm going to learn in the process. So now I'm going to work on this eastern bank, and then I'll update you guys when I'm all finished with that. Then we can get to texturing, water placement, and then the fun stuff. So I was on my way to actually get some things for retexturing, and I came across a bastion, and honestly, not sure if I want to go through it right now, but I'm here, so we'll see how it goes. Nothing too great here. Ancient debris, that's good. Some obsidian. Nothing else too great. Lodestone, that's good. Whew, that was close. Some more obsidian. More ancient debris, that's good. And I'll take the gold. And that should be all of the things that I need to grab from here, besides these gold blocks over here. And then I'll continue on my way. Alright, so I got into the Nether, and I've been bombarded with ghasts. So let's see if I can make it out of here. I'm gonna go with yes, but maybe not. Shoot. Ooh. Holy moly. I don't make good decisions all the time. This is one of them. Ooh, I made it. Alright. Now I'll see you guys back at the base. Alright, we made it back to the base, and I'm gonna start texturing this little water reservoir. I might expand it just a little more to make it kind of more of a circular shape here at the head of the river before I go down, but I'm gonna start retexturing now, and we'll see how it goes. So I wanted to give a little bit of an update on what I'm doing. I originally started doing a texture similar to here, where I was using clay, and I think the clay works really well in here. It kind of gives it more of a light, carefree kind of vibe, but I kind of like the idea of using no clay in this side of things, just using the mud and the soul soil, only because I think the clay looks weird here. And I might take that back when I add water to it, but I wanted to do more of a like lighter tone out here, and then kind of start the mud and soul soil down here, so it's kind of like silt is settling, and I don't think that the clay works very good with that texture. So I was trying to mine some more gravel, just this little patch here, and I found a secret little spherical area, and I think this works out really good for what I was trying to do today. I did not know this was here, but now that I do, I feel like it's kind of a sign that I have to keep going on with my plan. And this will be a great entrance, or great room for the waterfall cave that we've got going on here. So I'm gonna patch this hole up, but keep it in mind, just so I don't fall down into it. And we will revisit this later bit of the episode. Still working on the rest of the river, but I've made my way all the way down to here, and I know what I said earlier, but I think clay does have a place in this build, and I think it's actually near the waterfall itself, kind of showing that the water's starting to move a little bit quicker, because typically you don't find clay stagnant, do you? I don't know. I'm gonna use it. If it looks bad, we can find another block later, but this is what we're using for now. Alright, I've done it. I've textured the bottom, and now it's time to add all of the water. Alright, the water's in. I did expand it a little bit, and I'm going to work on that shoreline, touch it up later. But what I want to go work on is this. So I would like to kind of expand this side a little bit so there's more of a shoulder here, and replace all of this dirt with stone. And I think I have enough, but we'll see. The other thing that I would like to do is where the water's coming down, I want to make it a little bit lighter, because waterfalls, it's pretty turbulent water, so there's a lot of air and bubbles in it. So I'm going to do that right down the middle. So first things first, I want to get the shape of the build all set up. And then I'll come back and retexture it later. this side is completed for the shape. Now I need to do the other side, and then the texturing will be done later. I just wanted to get the shape done because I've never done anything like this before, and I didn't know how it was going to turn out. So I wanted to just work on it before I start texturing, and I think it turned out pretty good for my first time. Alright, I did the other side as well, and I'm liking how it turned out. There's a few rough edges here and there that I'm going to sort out along the way, but I'll do that when I get to the texturing portion, but that's not yet. I'm going to do a little bit of a waterfall area right down the middle, and I'm going to use still some stone as well as some of these materials, and I might need to go get more. Probably will need to go get more, but we're going to see how it turns out from here. Alright, I've gotten a few more materials, and I started building already. What I'm trying to do here is kind of have a split path here. So I'm going to have some of the water come down here on this side, and then some of the water come down here, but it's all going to be like a big, I don't know, mess of water down right there when it's all said and done. So from here up, I would love to make it lighter in color. So I'm going to use some of the calcite, some diorite, and whatnot to try and simulate that there's like more water or more turbulent water moving along there. So I'm going to try and do that now. And I'm going to do more light blocks on the outside, and then on the inside I'm gonna do more of a grayer, darker whatnot, just to see how it looks. And it could look terrible, but we're gonna try it because I'm trying to do new things in this Let's Play hardcore series. Okay, so I've done a good amount, and I don't want to do any more. I want to release the water and see how it looks, because I've never used this building technique before, and I don't want to do a ton of work and then have to redo it if the water doesn't flow the way I think it should or think it would. So let's go ahead and release the beast. And not quite what I was going for, but in principle, it works. So I wanted this to jut out just a little bit more, so the water's coming here, and I should have known Minecraft water is not going to do what I want it to do. But I think it looks pretty good with the technique that I did before. It's kind of making it so that this is a little bit more turbulent, and I'll probably add some white stained glass here and there within the water, so then it's a little transparent, but it kind of makes it so that there's more bubbles and whatnot. Now we've got the not so fun part, the texturing. So I've got to go and do all of this and retexture it. And right here I kind of want to use like darker blocks, and then over here I want to use lighter blocks, and I'm just kind of experimenting with it just a little bit, just to see what it's like. And then somewhere around here, or maybe down here, we're gonna break into this little, almost a perfect sphere generation. So I've started texturing, and I think it looks pretty decent so far. I'm trying to go for a darker into lighter, and then over here I'll just do my normal bit, and I'll do the same over here. I'm going to do darker into lighter, kind of. And we'll see how it looks. And then past that, then we'll start getting into our secret spherical museum base. Okay, so I've got one side done, and I'm thinking it's looking pretty decent. I'm gonna try and replicate this on the other side. Obviously it's gonna have kind of a different feel because the shadows are gonna be a little different, but gonna go down the side, make it a little darker, and then we're gonna use a little bit of time to decorate in here right after that. So I was pretty proud of what I had done so far, but I was talking and thinking, and it looked a little dead. So I added some moss, some vines, a little bit of lichen, some mossy cobble, and I think it looks a lot better. This side we'll have to wean off later on because this whole cliff is going to be transformed at some point, but not anytime in the near future. So we'll worry about that at a later date. But I'm liking the way this comes out so far, and now we can do a little bit of shrubbery here, maybe a couple of small trees. And then we'll work on the lake. And finally, secret tunnel through the mountain. Alright, I'm back. Right in front of me is all the accumulation of last episode and a little bit of this episode for this. Yay! Yeah, it's a cattail. So I'm gonna start putting these all around the little river face here, and we'll see how it looks. I'm going to add a few more of everything around as well. So like I have these big drip leaves that I'm going to put, and I'm going to use these to try and hide the fact that there's a little bit of dirt everywhere. I'm going to also use some lily pads as well, just to get a little bit of variation in there. And I'm also going to put some greenery down in the lake itself. So I'm going to get going on the rest of this build, and I think we will be all done with the outside portion after this. We'll see, and I will meet you guys back at the waterfall. Alright. This is complete. I'm going to work on the other side of the bank over there with some shrubberies and trees and things of that nature later on, but that's not really the focus of this build. Let's get to the main part. So here it is, our sphere. And it's naturally generated, so I don't have to do too much excavation work, but I think this is going to be a good start to our museum, and then we'll have it branch off underneath the whole civilization, kind of highlighting everything we've done so far. So I'm going to go ahead and make a floor probably down there. We'll have a big staircase going down, and then we'll see how we can decorate it. So I just spent the last hour or so collecting materials, just getting stuff that I think would look good together, and I finally got all of them. So now it's time to start decorating. And to start, I'm going to work with the mossy cobblestone and these terracottas that I collected. I don't have any particular design in mind, but I do want to make it kind of stand out just a little bit. So there'll be a little bit of experimenting here and there, and hopefully we can get a great looking floor here. So here's what we got so far. I've got kind of a weaving pattern going on here. And I don't know how I'm going to do lighting in this area yet. I might do some chandeliers from the top. But I kind of mapped it out perfectly, or almost perfectly, with how this room's going to be setting up. And I'm going to do something a little similar along the outside, and then we can add some green and more color on the walls. That was my plan, at least. So I'm all done with the floor, and I like how it turned out a lot, especially because I don't normally use these kind of block piles before. This is the first time I've used terracotta in the build, and I think it looks pretty good, especially because it doesn't get too crowded. And I wanted to do the floor first because if I did the walls, then I feel like the design of the floor would be too constricted. So now I'm going to work on a couple of archways going from the acacia logs over to the middle. So because I'm kind of just making this up as I go along and I'm not really doing much of a planned design, I decided I'm not going to time lapse because that time lapse is going to be way too long. But it's about time I gave you guys an update. I started with this arch roof design, and then we're going to have a chandelier come down from right here. And we're going to continue this along the sides, and then on the outside, I don't have too much of a plan yet, but I'm starting to cook one up. So I'll bring you guys back when I have a new idea in mind. Okay, well, here's the finished interior. I'm liking how it turned out a lot. I got the walls all finished. I added some more acacia to try and make it more of a circular pattern. And I was gonna do a little bit of a chandelier right up there, but I decided that it would be good to work on it in a future episode because we still have to store stuff in here. So now I'm gonna work on this hallway that leads out to the waterfall, and hopefully it'll turn out just as good as the inside did. But that will be done a little bit off camera just because I'm liking the building groove that I'm in right now. And the only thing that's really left to do is to kind of fill this place up. So right here, we're going to have our first gear, first tools. Then we're going to have some memorabilia from maybe the Wither fight. And then over in this other corner over here, when we finally do defeat the dragon, we'll put some remembrance right over here. So it's just kind of filling the trophy room. That's the next step. Well, it seems like this episode has come to a close. We finally have some secrets in our world. Or just one. That secret will grow. And it will continue to grow along with the world. We're going to have some cool stuff planned in there for the future. But with that, I think we are completed for this episode. So, thank you for tuning in, and peace.